me.
Hello and welcome to Contramundum. Things are happening. It is happening. Mass deportations are happening. Donald Trump is doing executive orders. We are here to talk about all of it. So I'm your host, Andrew Isker, and with me is CJ Engel.
Good evening. Is it evening yet? Happy evening.
There he is.
Yes. Things. There's a lot of hype in the headlines. I'll tell you that.
That's all you're going to say?
That's all I'm going to say.
He's still blackpilling. All right, let's hit the intro and go. So, CJ, what do you think? Are we going to deport 50 million people? Yes or no?
Well, we started at 300, and at that rate, after 250 years, we'll have a break even. So, things are happening very slowly. But my question is, there's been some deportations, but how many have come in legally over that last 24-hour period?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm sorry, we shouldn't start like this, should we?
Yeah, come on, man. You're blackpilling. This is a white pill only zone today.
How do I get my mic to stay up?
I don't know. You can blackpill about that. But no, we can talk about the legal immigrant problem later.
All right, we have to fix the mics. Are all of our mics on? Because it sounds like there's a central location picking up both of us right now.
Oh no,
that's what I'm getting.
Oh no, here we go. Here, put it on CJ.
Yeah, put it on number one, and we're gonna do a test. We're gonna do a live test. So give us a thumbs up.
Do number two.
Number one.
Let's try number two. Or three. Oh man. We had it all set up, ready to go. All right. I'm gonna fix it.
We're doing it live.
Let's go. All right. I know what's going on here. All right. This is the best.
This is the best Contramundum. This is free, by the way. You do not have to pay for this.
Oh, here we go. Now we're back.
Now we're almost back.
We're 100% back.
All right.
Audio better not be muffled down. Here we go. Okay, where were we?
I don't know, but Isker, what's your squat? That's what we're getting
right now. It was an AMA today. Okay. The last one rep I did.
Everyone says the audio is better. So
yeah, the last one rep I did is like 430.
Look at this.
I'm weak.
I knew this was gonna happen. Look at that. We got exposed.
Yes. Oh, tell them what happened.
I spent $50
for overnight shipping.
On a James Polk poster.
Yeah, we're branching out.
And the H1B system failed us on the deliveries.
Yeah, it did. Millions have to go back to fix. It was UPS.
UPS.
Yeah, they get a negative endorsement from us.
They do. Yeah. So,
but what do? You can't. They send you with whatever FedEx, UPS, whatever. You can't pick it.
Yeah, I mean,
it's terrible.
But if it was an Obama poster, it would have been here.
with the Jennifer Aniston poster too.
Yes, that would have been here. But James Polk didn't get it. So get Vivek on it.
Yeah,
we need some help.
Yeah, I mean he's apparently unemployed now, so maybe UPS would be a good landing spot for him.
Yeah, let's do it.
Scam them.
Yeah, we need to do a donation run for Vivek.
I think he's doing okay. He scammed enough people out of a lot of money. So anyway, back to the topic at hand. Mass deportations are happening. I mean, some people are like complaining. I mean, CJ was doing this a little tongue in cheek. He doesn't really mean it. There's only 300, 400 people. It's not that. That's barely anything. I mean, for one, that's infinite percent more people being deported than under Joe Biden. Okay. I mean, that's not the standard.
All right.
That's his presidency was an abomination. But right, these things are it's gonna take time to ramp this stuff up, right? I mean, you don't want to be like Jasmine Crockett. Did you see her tweet, her post on X the other day?
No, what'd she say?
She was complaining about how Donald Trump has caused the price of food and and gas and Netflix to go up.
Mm-hmm.
He's been president for like 3 days. It's all his fault. All the inflation is his
Well,
fault.
I mean, in an ideal world, the price of Netflix would explode and people would stop using it, right?
Yeah.
So
exactly.
maybe that's part of the cultural recovery.
Well, that's part of it too, is like the reason you have a thing like Netflix is because for the last 20 years, every ginormous corporation gets
Exactly
money for free.
If Netflix hires Americans, it's going to be $45 a month.
Yeah. And if you had like sound money, right, they wouldn't.
Well, if you had sound money,
you wouldn't have ginormous corporations investing in stupid things like Netflix.
It's true.
That has never actually made a profit ever, apparently. So maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe the chat can.
It's like the stone toss meme.
Yeah, you finally got it.
Profit.
Burgers.
Oh, we had a comment from Gary. Gary's jumping in. We need to give him a mic.
Gary does need a mic.
He does need a mic
soon enough.
$5 to fund a mic for Gary.
Yeah, we need the super chats. Okay. So no, I think obviously they had as much in place ready to go in terms of, like the bureaucratic infrastructure, who would be appointed, what executive orders were going to be released, and so forth to begin the process of deportations. But obviously implementing it and carrying it out, all of that is going to take some time. I mean, that'll take some weeks or months to get it going. Like just even like setting up. This is the other thing. Like I wake up in the morning and I see posts, and it's on the internet, so it's true, about Trump sending the 101st and 82nd Airborne Divisions to the border.
Yeah.
Like, let's go. Right? Like, number one, why hasn't this been done for the last 40 years?
Yeah,
right? All these were like George W. Bush. Why did he do that? Why didn't Ronald Reagan do that? Right? Because they actually were terrible.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The Reagan cult, it's being destroyed right now with this Trump presidency.
Isn't that crazy? You can just send the military to the border.
Yeah.
You can just do things.
You could just do things. You can repel invasions. Right.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And that's the thing too. It's
like you get these massive think pieces about like, we don't have what it takes to stop this. It's like within 3 hours, you can get the military mobilized and on the border.
Yeah.
It's that easy.
Just load them up in a C-17 and C-130 and then, give them all the ammo they need and bam, they're there. Yeah. Like, wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
That's why like the wall thing was kind of overstated. Like you didn't need a wall. You don't need a wall. What you need is political will.
It was a good rhetorical device for the moment. It was a rhetorical
device. It was also about, getting people's framing right.
Yeah.
Priorities straight, all that kind of stuff.
Just to introduce the idea that this is a problem and it needs to stop. That was effective to that end, whether he built the thing or not.
Now, here's the thing, right? People are saying that, this is not what the American people want. It's like, no, this is exactly what we voted for.
Yo, exactly.
This is exactly what this was the ballot box. This is exactly what we wanted.
This is what won at the ballot box.
This is what 80 million people voted for.
Yeah, I'm tired of going and getting groceries with my family and everybody all around me when I'm going to get the groceries at Sam's Club, they don't speak English.
Yeah.
Right. I'm sick of that. Like I took my kids, I know they're not doing beef tallow fries yet, but just to reward that company, I ate some seed oils. I'm sorry, everybody. But I went to Steak and Shake, right? And I'm at Steak and Shake and everybody in there was not speaking English.
Yeah, it was crazy.
This is what, when you go to Nashville, this is what happens, right? When you get nearer to the big city, but it's like, what is going on here? Like, I can understand in the past, like there'd be like maybe one or two families that you bump into when you're in a big city that are not American. Every single person there not speaking English, right? It's like blows my mind.
I know.
And this is, I don't live in cities, spend much time in cities, but most people do. And this is what the majority of the country experiences every single day. And it's like, man, why can't I find a house for my family that doesn't cost $1 million? right? Why can't I find one? Oh, maybe it's because we have 50 million people driving up the cost of housing, right? So the pictures today, this morning, that were just glorious. I mean, it brought a tear to my eye. It was like it was funny because like it brings a tear to my eye and a tear to the libs' eyes, but for different reasons, right? Like the Anakin meme, you know, it's like, it brought a tear to my eye. Because you're sad? No. Right. I see the picture. Yeah, the illegals, they got their hands are bound. Like one of them's wearing Crocs. So nice choice of footwear, but and they're like in a single file line. There's guys with you know, troops there, load them onto a C-17, and it's like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for my whole life. They have to go back, and they are going back.
This is why they do the hype stuff, because you buy into it.
Yeah,
I need proof.
There's a picture. They're going on a plane. That's the proof.
No, that's not the proof.
Okay, all right.
That's the stage. Okay,
it's like AOC with the kids in cages, but for us.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Oh man.
Look, I'm just saying that these are the kinds of like. Remember during the Bush years when his whole thing was, we're not going to nation build anymore.
Yeah.
Like you have to be patient. The energy is high. The momentum's there. And here's the other thing. Here's the other thing. Do you think the Supreme Court's going to play ball with the Trump administration on all these executive orders?
I mean, well, here's the thing.
It's now or never, right?
Here's the thing. Like before he even set foot in the Oval Office, he has his advance team go in there, and the first thing they do, what do? They put the portrait of Andrew Jackson back up, right? So Donald Trump is going to say, Justice Roberts has made his decision. Let's see him enforce it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like it's gonna have to come to that.
I think so. I think the people behind the deportation initiatives in Washington, Stephen Miller. I think he's willing to play that game.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, who's the one that like sidelined Vivek? Right. It was him.
Yeah.
Totally. And it's like, he is our guy.
He's our guy.
He is 100% our guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
Did you ever watch the clip of him back? And this was when I was a freshman in college. And I consumed Fox News like a boomer when I was in college. I come to my dorm room and it'd be on all day. I was like 20-year-old boomer. And I'm sure I saw it live, but he went on Bill O'Reilly when he's like 24, when he's at Duke. It was during the Duke lacrosse thing. And it was like, man, this dude was a stone cold killer right out of the gate when he's like 23, 24 years old, right? He still had hair then. And man, you gotta, Gary, pull up that clip. Pull up the clip of Stephen Miller on Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen like Tom Homan back in the day in the 70s?
Oh yeah. This
like
he looks like a cop from a 70s movie.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Like if I was to choose the guy to enforce the border policy, it'd be Tom Homan.
Oh
it's
yeah,
like 1975 Tom Homan.
Yeah, but like I mean,
with his cowboy hat.
The videos, man, the videos of Tom Homan where he's like, you know, families could be deported together. You know, it's like yes. This is what I would say.
What's the filter for like the Giga Chad? The Snapchat filter?
Oh yeah, just put that on him.
Yeah, well, no. The funny thing is that you don't have to. He's like perma Giga Chad.
he's a 70-year-old Giga Chad. Yeah. No, I mean, I'm very optimistic about it, and I think you're gonna have to ramp things up to the point where it's hundreds of thousands a week.
If
not just hundreds a day.
If Rachel Maddow is not constantly in tears, then you're not doing enough.
Oh, exactly.
That's the standard.
100%.
That's the by what standard? That's the standard.
That's the standard.
Yes.
Right. The lamentations of their lesbian women. Right. That's what we want to hear. And it's exactly like but he's doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Like he is doing all these things, and he's doing it at such a pace. Like they're playing whack-a-mole over what to be outraged about. Like that's why
the other funny thing.
They don't know what to be angry about because there's so many different things. It's great.
They're gonna explode. They're gonna have a mental breakdown.
Yeah, I think, and it's weird too because like I don't see like any kind of coordinated effort online from their people to like oppose anything Trump is doing. Like
I don't-
in the past, this is what they would do is like they all get their talking points and they start saying it, and like there's nothing. Like maybe, I mean, there's a little bit over like Pete Hegseth. Like there's some coordinated talking points out there. Oh, he's not qualified, says Chuck Schumer. But it's like
I'm like
they're depleted.
I have zero interest in qualifications right now.
So,
You know, like we've been qualified into complete chaos.
Yeah.
Like all the experts, billions of dollars of credentials, higher education, all that stuff has basically led to the vanishing of the American way of life.
And the dude does have the credentials. Like
I don't care. Like,
he's an Ivy League grad. It's like he has them. It's just silly. And that's all they've got. They're like, oh yeah, he drank too much. Like first guy ever that was in the army that drank too much or chased women. Whoa, really? They did. He did those things. You're telling me now for the first time.
Isn't that funny how like puritanical they are when they need to be?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like literally the same people who were saying, we need to cut the genitalia off of children like months ago. Right. Campaigning on that. Yeah, we got to readjust these chairs. Now we're like, oh man, he cheated on his wife. This is so horrible. It's like they're the most hypocritical people. Like I feel terrible even like talking about it.
Yeah,
because they're so shameless. They're just disgusting people, right? And that you just need to hold them in contempt all the time.
Yeah,
right. Like just when you think of Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and people like that, just look at the lizard guy, trying to put cheese on frozen hamburgers, right? Like just like that's what his soul is, like this disgusting, not human being. So anyway,
so someone asked if Pete got in. Didn't they vote on that today?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we've been too busy
building bookshelves.
Yeah, like setting this stuff up, and I forgot to plug in the audio. But
yeah, we couldn't get the audio straight. Do you think we were following the Senate proceeding?
Yeah, well, we didn't have any staffers in here doing their thing.
That's true.
Yeah. So no, I don't know if he passed or not. This is,
I think he said they said it, everyone was going to, right?
Yeah, it sounded like he was a shoo-in.
We can just look it up.
Oh, it hasn't happened yet. Okay. So, I'm very, very, very optimistic right now, and don't give me any reasons not to be, please. But no, like things are happening. It's what we wanted for years, man. And so that's good. I mean, yes. Wake me up when it's 50 million people deported. Wake me up when the whole H-1B system is totally gutted, right? Trump can give his qual. Oh yeah, we want legal immigration and blah blah blah. And meanwhile, he's just gutting it completely, right?
Yeah.
He's telling the corporation, he's telling Elon what he wants to hear.
Well, so here's another thing, and he declassified the JFK and MLK.
Yeah, we got to talk about that.
What?
We should talk about that.
Oh, I thought you were trying to shut me down.
I've never done that before.
No, she's never done that before. She's never done that before. So I'm actually still. Do you think that's a full declassification?
I mean, that's what the order said.
I've seen nothing explosive.
Yeah,
like all the MLK stuff has been exactly what everyone kind of knew.
It's all stuff that's already been out there.
Yeah.
Right. He was. MLK was the original P. Diddy.
Well, that, but also, he was like paid by communists, and we all know that now.
There's more info out about the direct involvement of the CPUSA and Comintern.
Here's why it's good, because we don't have to get into all the things about like Martin Luther King Jr. and like the civil rights and stuff. All that stuff you can put on the back burner and just realize that we can be honest about people's legacy now. I mean, we are half a century removed from this communist threat, and we can now look back from a sense of objectivity, hopefully, and begin to have these discussions.
Yeah,
you think anything explosive is going to come out of the JFK stuff? Who has time to look at that?
I'm somebody will. I mean, this is what we got AI for now. But no, I don't think anything new will come out of it. Like obviously, the majority of the country already doesn't believe Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, and it's just like it's a fun thing to talk about and research, where it's like, oh, you just a mob boss was just so distraught that he shot Oswald, right? He just went down to the police station and shot him, right? A guy connected to the mob, right? That's just random. Like, no, of course not.
No.
Right? Like, and I mean, anyone who's like read anything about the Central Intelligence Agency and the OSS in its early days understands that like intelligence and this isn't just unique to the United States, right? Intelligence operations in every country, but especially the United States, where like organized crime syndicates begin and the OSS later the CIA end, right? It's not a clearly demarcated line, right? They use them, right? I mean, they're useful for black money, money that's off the books. They're useful for getting in and out of countries because you need people that cross borders and smuggle things in, right? Those are useful guys if you're doing intelligence work. Yeah. So the connection between the CIA and the mob, right? It's obvious. Yeah. Like, it's always been there.
Always been there.
And so it makes sense that that's what happened, right? They did a hit on the president of the United States. But I think some of this, him releasing it, I mean, this is a promise he made to RFK, right? That he released the info about his uncle and his father and King as well. But some of it too, I think, is, I mean, I don't know if you watched Sean Davis on Tucker, but there needs to be a lot more investigation into the 2 attempts on Trump's life during the campaign. And so I think this is kind of to prime the pump for all of that, to prove, right, it wasn't just some random kid that decided to go kill the president. He had connections, right? He had all of these, I don't know if it was Signal or Telegram or WhatsApp or whatever, the communications apps he was using to communicate with people from foreign countries, right? And this is a thing that intelligence services like to do. They have to launder things through foreign countries, whether it's Ukraine or the United Kingdom or Canada, New Zealand, Australia. They do those things because, right, if it's not a U.S. citizen doing it, you're like, oh, well, it wasn't us. We didn't know what was going on, right? It gives you another layer of plausible deniability. So that makes it incredibly suspicious. And there's so many suspicious things around it, like the contact he had with federal agents, things like that. So there needs to be a lot more delved into about that. And the total loser that tried to kill him on the golf course. Right. This guy had been going to Ukraine and apparently like trying to recruit Afghans to go fight in Ukraine.
Oh, I didn't
see
that.
This guy was,
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. This guy,
yeah, he was kind of
he's
like
a deep state stooge.
Exactly. That's all he did. He's just an errand boy.
Yeah. I mean, just they find these guys are just bums, losers that they send to do dirty work. Yeah. And so how is it that hard to think somebody said to him, hey, why don't you go kill Trump? Right. Of course, that's what happened. Right.
It's like MK Ultra. Actually,
I don't even know if it is. Like,
of course it is.
I mean,
those.
You don't need to.
No, but those programs are percolated out.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it's not like they stopped. Oh, we just stopped in 1976 after the House Select Committee on Assassinations.
You can create.
Right? Of course, they're still doing.
You can create moral crusaders really easily now, and that's what the intelligence apparatus does.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like BLM was just a color revolution.
Yes.
And Antifa, like that's the stuff they do, and like where the NGOs begin and the regime ends too. It's a similar thing, right? So they do all the organizing to do their little color revolution stuff, and then they implement it and they make it happen.
So another thing that's happened is the canceling of massive amounts of DEI contracts. Like all the consulting contracts have been canceled.
Totally gone.
Yeah. Overnight.
Like that.
And so
you could just do things.
So you have these massive, so the consulting world in Washington is insane.
Yeah.
These people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour.
Big money.
To do, seminars and stuff.
Yeah.
All canceled.
Yeah. Gone.
Hilarious. All these race grifters gone.
Yeah.
Like all of these people. So like, I know people that have, that work on federal contracts and state contracts. They have to go all through all this levels of training in order to get approved to work with the state. And they have to go through hours of this training and this, how to speak to like other protected classes, minorities, women, gays, like all of these protected classes, all of that is just gone. The consulting relationships are gone. That is powerful in itself. I mean, you break the scales off the eyes of all these agencies, and like you've opened the door to a lot of different changes you can do. I think that the Department of Education needs to go next. I wonder if that's going to be fulfilled.
And that's part of the plan is getting rid of the DOE, right? And because that's part of it too, is like all of the trans stuff, all of the porn in public school library stuff, all the curriculum stuff that they pushed, all the DEI stuff they pushed in curriculums, all of that is done via the Department of Education. Yeah. Right. So the Department of Education there's like 2 or 3 book publishers for all public schools in the country, like Houghton Mifflin and a few others. And they just say, all right, all of the literature books for 4th graders are going to have this story, this story, and this story. And it's all, DEI stuff. It's all gay stuff, everything. And right, that's what's pushing it. Right. You don't have states that are allowed to devise their own curriculums. Right. You don't have, much less local school districts that are able to say, this is what we're going to teach, or this is what we're not going to teach. All of it is dictated top down. So the Department of Education has to go. And there are people that are like, oh, well, what about like poor rural school districts? Like, how are they going to get by? Well, I don't know. How did people learn how to read before 1976?
They couldn't.
Yeah, no one knew how to read. No one in poor rural areas knew how to read before 1976. That's
literally their argument. Yeah, it's like people will not be able to read without the Department of Education.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So I hope he does. I mean, that apparently is a priority of the administration as well. Yeah. And I don't know if we talked about it on Monday, but the executive order about ending affirmative action. Yeah. Did we talk about that?
They just axed that.
Yeah, it's just gone. Yeah. Right. So LBJ's executive order that he wrote immediately after the pass of the Civil Rights Act, right? It's been there. Ronald Reagan didn't do anything about it. I mean, even Nixon, I know, he won. The silent majority put him in office. He didn't do anything about it.
It was too close.
Yeah, to the revolution. I mean, Nixon's election was backlash to the 60s.
I mean, have you seen? So one of the interesting aspects about Nixon is he entered into a foreign policy context. Yeah, he had to deal with things in Vietnam and elsewhere. Right? Yeah, but
that was 100% what he's
plan doing. For his second term was to go domestic. Yeah. So we don't even know where he would have gone.
What would have he done?
I think he was aware of things. Yeah. Wasn't there a clip where he talks about the fact that he had domestic policy as his target for a second term?
No, there is. Yeah. Several clips actually. Yeah.
And that's such a tragedy of history that we never got to see that.
No, I mean, this is the Trump second term is the Nixon second term we never got to have. Yeah. Right. 40 years later. Yeah. Or 50 years later.
Yeah. Punished. Ready for retribution.
Yeah. 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 And it's like, whoa. Finally, I mean, it's been delayed, but it's happening. And I mean, this is why the guy in 72 is because of Watergate, because he spied on the Democrat. He won.
That's the files I want to see.
Every state. That's
the files I want to see.
Everything on Watergate needs to be released. Yes. Right. It was a coup.
Yes.
Right. We need to know it. And then put Nixon on Mount Rushmore.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think they'll release any files? Oh, this is good. Good. Yeah. They're ahead of us here. Uh-oh. We're gone. We're gone.
You know what it is? I don't know if people can see hers, but like the internet here has just been in and
out. Our internet. We gotta put an extra hamster on a wheel. So as far as I hope that they do. I mean that is. I think online, like I don't know if you saw Jack Posobiec post about this, but he's like, we are going to rehabilitate Nixon and Derek Chauvin. It's like, I like that.
Yeah, I mean, like that a lot. The vindication of Richard Nixon would change the world.
Well, I think it would because, I mean, growing up, and this is why I got the poster up here, right? is, I mean, not just because this was my grandpa's, but I was told by everybody, oh, he was terrible. He was a bad man. He was one of the worst presidents we've ever had. And then you like go and look at what he did. Like, number one, he won the Cold War. It wasn't Ronald Reagan. It was Richard Nixon.
We talked about series we were going to do.
We have to do a Nixon one.
We're going to do a Nixon one.
We are going to do a Nixon series. That'll be part of our
Gary,
Mondays.
write that down.
We're doing Nixon series. We have to.
Yes.
I mean, my 12-year-old son, for Christmas, I got him Richard Nixon's memoirs. And he wants to do a podcast of his own, just reading them out loud. So keep your eye open for that one.
That'd be super cool. You should do that.
Yeah, you can listen to him read it.
You told me funny stories about it. That's funny.
But anyway, no, a Nixon series is on the docket.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. We need to go to California.
Reagan won the Cold War. Sorry, Aaron. The Cold War ended during Ronald Reagan's term. You're correct. But Richard Nixon going to China won the Cold War for the United States, hands down. Right, that's what did it. All right, severing communist China from the Soviet Union, that driving that wedge, that ended it. Right, if you had China and Russia, right, economically bound together, like Soviet Union would still be around today.
Yeah,
right, it would be.
Yeah.
And all of the third world stuff, right? All of those countries would be dominated by the Soviet Union.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would have lost the Cold War had it not been for Richard Nixon. And I mean, everyone wants to complain about him going to China and opening them up economically and everything because it's a problem. All the cheap Chinese junk that we have everywhere, like CJ's mic stand. I
blame Nixon for this.
Yeah, that's right. Like it was the first domino to globalization.
Yes.
Right. It was.
Yes.
But right. Politics is a question of it's a question of,
but here's the deal.
What are your options? What are your alternatives?
Yes. And that's like the libertarian critique. And there's some truth to it.
Yeah, there is.
But they didn't have to continue on this like monetary rampage in the 1990s under Bill Clinton. That was a choice.
Yeah.
Like things happened after the Cold War was ended that led to where we are today. We didn't have to. In fact, if we had listened to Pat Buchanan, we wouldn't have been here today either.
Like the 1990s, and we'll get to this in the series.
What series?
Repealing the 20th century.
That sounds based. Where do I sign up?
We don't have a sign up yet. But no, soon.
Many
we'll keep teasing it.
Yeah,
but the 90s, man, like you said, all of those things were decisions that were made. NAFTA was a decision that didn't have to be made.
Mm-hmm.
Exporting all of our industry over to China didn't have to be done.
Isn't that crazy?
Right. It could have been avoided.
Yeah, it's a matter of political will. Right?
Yeah.
That's it.
And our people had it. They had no leadership. Right. And part of it, I mean, I don't want to be like all anti-Reagan and things like that. I don't actually, because the Republican Party was the Cold Warrior party in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s. And once the Cold War ends, like they had no political program at all. Right. I mean, the first Bush presidency, it was just, all right, we're fighting the Cold War, but we don't have an adversary anymore. So I guess we're going to, send the army to Kuwait, and we have this big, massive army, and we're going to use it against one of our former allies in Saddam Hussein, and they weren't able to pivot domestically, and that vacuum allowed someone like Bill Clinton to rise to the scene and become a tool of big business. Yeah, right. To really, I mean, it's. Like the Clinton years is very much like
it really is
the reconfiguration of the Democrats in 1896, right? Everyone's like, like you can always tell you're dealing with like the dumbest conservatives when they're like, oh, the Democrats back in the 1800s or so. It's like, no, you would have been a Democrat in the 1800s, right? I would have been one. You would have been one, right? All of us would have been one, right? 1896 is when the parties just did an Uno reverso.
I'm barely a Republican today.
Well, yeah. I mean, me neither. But I vote for him usually.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. And in the similar way, in 100 years later, that space where the Republicans are just joined at the hip with big business, like Bill Clinton comes in and it's like, oh, we're going to do neoliberalism, and we're going to give it all the corporations everything they want. But we still want high taxes, right? That's basically their whole shtick at that point. And so anyway,
I was thinking about, I mean, the JFK, the MLK files, these are all great declassifications. I think these are kind of like warnings that if the deep state challenges Trump anymore, okay, we're going to release Watergate. Okay, we're going to release the truth about 9/11. Like these are, we're willing to play this game now. I don't think Trump was willing to play that game in his first term. Well, but now he's good to go.
When they try to kill him and they try to throw him in prison for the rest of his life, you realize you got nothing to lose at this point, right? I think that's so much of all of this, right? Apparently, him releasing all of the J6ers, which, I mean, praise God for Donald Trump getting elected and releasing all of them, right? He was gonna apparently, I mean, this is kind of scuttlebutt hearsay, but he was gonna slowly go through the file. Like, we'll release all the nonviolent ones, and then we'll give clemency to some of the ones that did things that actually were criminal. And then after Biden pardoned Fauci and Milley and Adam Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, he was just like, yeah, they're all coming out. Yeah. Right. They're all getting pardoned.
Is there any truth to the Fauci Putin thing? Or is that just
I think that's just fake. Okay. I mean, well, okay, so Trump gets all right. So let's it's time for some game theory. Say Trump gets Zelensky and Putin into a room together to hash everything out, and Putin is like, yes, I will end the war, but you must bring me Fauci. I can't do a Russian accent. Does he say no to that?
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's not. Obviously, it's a horrible precedent. We're
not playing the precedent game.
We're not doing that anymore.
We're not doing that anymore. In fact, it's actually funny because I said a couple of weeks ago, because people are like, because Trump was like, they were blaming him for changing the 14th Amendment, and they were like, could you imagine if the Democrats tried to just executive order the Second Amendment out? And I'm like, interesting.
What do you think they've been doing the whole time?
Well, no, but it's also funny. It's like we're at the imagine if the roles were reversed stage
for them
of Democrat demoralization.
Yes,
so,
yeah. You know you're winning when the other side is saying,
imagine if the roles were
reversed.
Yes,
yeah, exactly.
That's when you know you're winning.
I want them to be doing the Ben Shapiro
for
thing.
70 years.
Yeah,
the conservatives have been playing that game.
Yeah,
and then all of a sudden you see Democrats. Well, imagine if the roles were reversed.
Yeah, I wanted to play this clip, but we're not optimized yet for clip. We're going to do clips soon enough. Maybe next Friday. But there's a clip of Trump talking about aid to your former state, California. And
I left my heart in California. So
you left your heart in San Francisco,
in the Sierras. But
yeah. And he's talking about aid to California, and he says, well, we'll give them all the aid they want. They can have all the aid they want. There's just going to be some conditions. They're going to have voter ID. And it's like, people are like, I don't like that precedent, right? Withholding aid in order to get and it's like,
no,
too bad.
No. Yeah. Too bad. But also the entire structure of the 20th century was about carrots like that. You play ball with federal government, you get money.
Yeah.
So yes, that's the precedent. And we're going to flip it back on you now.
And I mean, and that's the thing. It isn't like voter ID and all. Like, we could do an entire series just on California. Write that one down too. But California is like, everyone has it in their head that California went from the most conservative. I mean, the state of Richard Nixon, right? Went from Richard Nixon's, state, Ronald Reagan's state, like the most conservative state in the country, right? That makes Florida today look like a bunch of hippies.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Right. It went from that in the 60s, 70s, and 80s to the 90s, where now a Republican can't win can't win statewide office, can't come within 30 points of winning statewide office in California. Like, that's not normal. That doesn't happen. Like, even in liberal states, right? Even in liberal states like Massachusetts, you could get a Mitt Romney that becomes governor there, or my state, Minnesota, or like all these other states that are very liberal, right? Republicans every once in a while still can win or still have a competitive election, even because they'll be like liberal Republicans, and they'll be they'll have a constituency there. They'll peel away some of the moderates and so forth. That does not happen in California.
Yeah.
Right. That's bizarre.
Yeah.
And that's not a normal electoral system.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what happened in the 90s is Democrats took control of counting the votes and the electoral process. And then you end up with Barbara Boxer as senator for life and Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, and
the entire
all of
Getty
these things.
family down there in Los Angeles. Yeah.
Yes. And so all of that, right? All of that is,
I can't talk about this because I get worked up.
Oh, I know. Like, they stole the state.
Yeah.
Right. California is still a conservative state. Right. People don't realize, they think it's just a bunch of, queer hippies everywhere and infinity Hispanics.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, there is, but like, they don't vote.
Right.
They don't. Right.
No, it's true.
They get their votes harvested, but they don't go out and stand in line and vote in the polls.
Yeah.
Right. It's an occupied government.
It really
right. Like, it is like foreign occupiers dominating a people there. Like, that's what's happened to California. So if Trump says, hey, we'll give you all the money going to Ukraine, we'll give to you to rebuild LA, but you got to have voter ID. Right. Without voter ID, you're not getting a penny. Right. That alone,
that's a political revolution
would
right there.
Change California from deep blue to deep red.
But if you change California, it's over for the Democrats.
Yes.
That's all they have is California.
Yes. They will never win the presidency again if you lose California.
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
Ever again.
This is good, man. You're white pilling me.
Oh, let's go. So how much time do we got left? We got about 15, 20 minutes left. So let's talk about something controversial.
All right.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm in.
So yesterday, was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. All of these political prisoners. So we talked about the J6ers getting released. All of these political prisoners that Biden took, people, sweet little old grandmas who went down to abortuaries where they murdered babies and protested. They were arrested by the FBI and sentenced to 10 years of prison on the FACE Act. And these people were charged and convicted and were languishing in prison for daring to protest the murdering of babies. And what did Donald Trump do in his first week of office? Right when the big pro-life event, the March for Life, is going on, he pardons every single one of them.
Yeah.
Right. All of them.
Yeah.
Getting pardoned.
Yeah.
And during the campaign.
So you know what this was, right? It was a deal that he made, probably. Right.
With whom?
Because I mean, that's hard to tell. But like, one of the things about politics is a lot of the things that we've seen over the last week are all just fulfillments of deals that he made to get different groups. So like he pardoned what's his name?
Ross Ulbricht. And he promised when he went to the
libertarians.
When he went to the Libertarian Convention, he promised
campaign promises to voter blocks.
Yeah.
And that's what politics is.
Yes.
So all of these people who are like, he's not a purist, he doesn't agree with us on like the technicalities of abortion morality. It's like, you're not playing politics.
Yeah.
That was a victory for those who decided to push back against the abolitionists.
Yes, 100%. That's what I'm getting at is you had a small but very loud minority in our world saying, I can't vote for this man.
Yeah.
Right. He's not a godly man. He is.
And what did we
pro-abortion.
say on this show
Yeah.
right before that? It doesn't matter what Trump personally thinks.
Yeah.
If you want this to happen, you have to play politics.
Yes.
Because politics always has a logic of its own.
Yes. And the logic is you win by winning.
Yes.
Right. You win by winning.
Yeah,
you don't win by losing.
Yeah.
I'm sick of hearing that.
The meaning of Trump is that he gives access to our people.
Yes.
Because Trump actually doesn't care either way.
No, I don't think he does.
But he will trade power for this specific issue. If you can get thousands of, tens of thousands of people to vote for him, he'll do a trade.
Yeah.
That's how you do politics.
Yeah.
I don't like that either.
No.
But you have to deal with the system as it
I would
is.
love to. I would love to just have an omnipotent ruler come in and do everything good and right.
Woke right.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
It's very woke
right.
Right.
Wouldn't it be Wouldn't it be awesome if we just had Constantine rise from the dead and just come in with his legions and say no more killing babies? Right. That would be great. But that's not going to happen. Right. It's not happening. And this idea like, oh, well, we can only vote for this and then we're going to have a big revival and that's going to transform it. Like, when has that ever happened in history? Right. That is not how things are done.
Mm-hmm.
That's not how the world works.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want specific things to happen, right, you have to have wins stacked up along the way there.
Yeah.
You have to have power to wield power. Right. You have to gain it.
Mm-hmm.
And
it is funny because
they don't want to gain power.
All the evangelicals, I mean, not the worst ones, but like a lot of the evangelicals are praising Trump for this, you know, and it's like, well, look, you guys were counter signaling people like us for seeking power.
Yeah.
But power is the mechanism by which you make these moral changes.
Yes.
And yes, were any hearts changed? No. But good things can still come out of politics. That's what this role of the state is. Yeah,
whether hearts are changed by it or not. I mean, I think they actually do get changed by power
over time.
But that's not what I'm after. That's not. I mean, abolitionists, I don't think, are even after that. They just want babies to not be murdered anymore. I don't want that either. Right. But I want it to actually happen. Right. I'll get called a pragmatist. You're a pragmatist. It's like, yes, I guess I am guilty.
Yes.
Right. I want to win. Right. I want to win by winning. And that's what's happening. And I'm so sick of people who think that losing is how you win. Right. Oh, well, just think if what the 76-year-old woman, I can't recall her name. I can see her picture.
The J6er?
No. The pro-life
I forget, yeah.
Lady.
Released.
She like the people that were saying no, we just need to let Kamala win, right, to send a message to the GOP, right? They would see, okay, that woman spending the rest of her life probably in prison, well, that'll radicalize people and that'll get more people on our side, right? Like that was their way of thinking.
Put up that last comment there. Those the last two.
Yeah, these are good from Truttle. Yes.
So he says over-realized theology of the cross is what it is, and then go to a second comment.
100%.
This is exactly right.
Yeah.
They think that because Jesus had a particular model, toward which he accomplished his end, all politics has to replicate that, and that is not. That's false.
Yeah, politics needs to follow that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
No, you have to win.
Yeah,
you have to win. And I mean, I think about it too.
It's so funny. The people who are lecturing us by saying you're not David, they want us to do exactly the things that Jesus did in terms of politics.
Yeah.
But you're not Jesus.
Yeah, like they think that the only way to win is martyrdom, right?
Yes.
They want 70-year-old grandmas to die in prison, right? Because somehow that's going to allow us to win, right? But it's like, it's just childish.
Well, I mean, it's also a failure to understand that we live in two kingdoms, and we're not going to achieve, the kingdom of God by violence or anything.
No.
But we can still achieve, natural norms with
you can achieve order
with applying
through the power of the state.
That's what Romans 13 is about. It's very basic stuff, but people overthink it because they're trying to be pietists.
Yeah, and It drives me nuts. And today, apparently, this is another clip we could have played, but like today, JD Vance spoke at the March for Life, and his speech, I watched part of it, and it was very good as always. And the way he speaks about things is incredibly refreshing, because he speaks about Americans as a people, right? Not as
that's amazing,
right? Not as numbers on a chart, right? Not as the big line going up, right? Americans as a people, right? Saying I want to have more babies, right? I want Americans to have more babies, right? I want America to grow, but not through immigration, right? Through having babies, right? How about that?
Amazing,
right? And so if you think about that for a moment, right, and it gets you to, so many of the problems with our world, with trash world, is right. Just looking at birth rate problems, right? Like just isolating that alone, it is right. And it's everywhere in the world. Right? It's not just Western countries. It's basically everywhere, but like sub-Saharan Africa, no one's having babies, right? And like basically every developed nation has this problem. Right? It doesn't matter if they're Western; they could be Muslim nations like Iran. Right? They all have problems with their birth rate, and this like fertility crisis is huge. And then like you think about that, like why? Right? Are people just not able to get pregnant? Well, no.
Partly.
It is partly like there are environmental problems, biological ones.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. There are. Yes. That's part of the problem. Yes. Part of that too is right. Only one of the two sexes can carry babies inside of them. Like God designed women.
Did you say one of the two sexes?
Yes.
That's legal now.
Yeah, we can say that now. That's right. Crazy. We're not going to jail. And right, only one of them can. Right, God designed women.
Yeah.
Right. This is really controversial. God designed women to have babies. Yeah. He did. And
that one at the ballot box.
Yes, that one at the ballot box. Absolutely. And like if you socially engineer a world in which women don't want to do that anymore, right? What are you going to have? You are going to have a fertility crisis. Or if you socially engineer a world where women, where just having babies is not, the ordinary thing that women do, right? And maybe you have one or two, right? When your grandma or your great grandma or your great great grandma, she had like 6 or 8, right? That was what was normal. Now you're having like 1 or 2, maybe. It's your choice. It's a lifestyle thing. Like if you want to, you can. Or if you don't want to, but you economically, you make a world in which people can't survive unless you have 2 incomes.
Yeah.
Right.
It all works together. This is why we should, like conservatives don't talk enough about the central bank, right?
Yeah.
But like these things have cultural impact.
Yeah.
You make, this is why like inflation is so insidious. It undermines the family.
It destroys it.
You can't afford to have 4 kids.
No.
You can't survive. You can't afford, your wife can't afford to stay home and watch the kids.
Yeah.
And
it also produces a people, like if the value of your money is going away, it produces an effect at scale where a people that would otherwise be very low time preference now become high time preference. They become consumers, right? They just buy more and more stuff because it literally is burning a hole in your pocket, or all but literally.
So we have like 7 minutes left. Let's get to that super chat because I think I want to talk about this very cautiously. All right.
Let's get super chat. I'll let you read it.
Christ is winning in both kingdoms. The next thing Trump needs to do is deport Eli McGowan and other parasoldiers for the post-war consensus.
Where should he be deported to? Haiti. He can go to Haiti.
Well, just I don't want to get too deep into it, but like our big shout out to, and our hearts are with Zach Garris.
100%.
We stand with Zach Garris.
100%. He's a good man.
Yeah, he is a good man. So we don't have time to get into the details of that today, but it's really sad. Like this is part of the other example. There are young men that are willing to stand firm on solid ground and not let the institutions burn them.
Yeah.
And I think they're what they're doing is they're making people choose a side.
Yes.
And a lot of these old guard conservatives,
Yeah.
quote unquote conservatives,
Yeah.
are choosing the wrong side. And
Yeah.
this is why that there is a changing of the guard at play.
Yeah.
And actually, you're going to hear about the changing of guard in the coming weeks because
Yeah.
there are major things happening. And
Yeah.
Zach Garris is like sort of a good example.
Yeah.
of
A man who
going on.
wrote, literally wrote the book Honor Thy Fathers.
Yeah.
Right. Who, like, what is he being persecuted for? Honoring our fathers.
Yes.
And what do the boomer post-war consensus respecter people in all of our major conservative Christian institutions, what are they doing? They are exhuming our fathers' graves and
Yes.
burning them.
Yes.
Right. They think someone like R.L. Dabney right here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that.
Probably George Washington.
Or George Washington too.
Yeah.
Right. That these men were evil. Right. These were evil, and they need to be totally repudiated because they stood for evil things.
Mhm.
Right. I mean, it's like Orrin said, right. The definition of America in the post-war consensus is that like, what is an American? Is someone who fought the South and the Nazis. Right.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right. That's all it, and that they're the same thing.
Yeah. And it's
Right.
the same thing.
Yeah. And it's disgusting. What and these men, right? They are, I mean, to a man, they are cowards. Right? They're cowards. They care only about a paycheck.
Mhm.
They do not care about the truth. Right? They like, you have a duty to hold men like that in contempt.
Mhm.
And this is a sensitive subject because people will be like, well, no, these are very godly churchmen. These are very godly ministers. And it's like, no, they're telling you that you must, in order to be a Christian, dishonor your fathers.
Yeah.
Right? Those are not godly men. Right? They are whited sepulchers. Right? That's what they are.
Mhm.
And you need to treat them like that.
Mhm.
Right? Anyone who tells you that all these men in the past, they were evil and we have it all right. Right? We're the good guys. They were evil. Right? We finally, the timeless politics of Jesus, the timeless, cultural considerations of the cross, right, just so happen to line up with everything in the post-war consensus. Right? That's that's what godliness is. Democracy, human rights. Right? That's what the Bible teaches, and it always has.
Isn't that amazing?
It's incredible.
Yeah, we're blessed.
Yeah, how blessed.
I think with that we need to transition out because I have serious business to take care of.
Yeah, serious business. I know. Well, it's been no, Gary, you can just go up to end stream. It'll play automatically. We're doing on-air production again. Right up there, but don't click it yet. But you said there's things coming. What are you going to talk about? What things?
I'm just teasing things coming.
Things are coming?
I mean,
okay.
we do have our Repealing the 20th Century series, which
that's coming.
Yeah, it's very shortly.
There's
one thing we're waiting on.
Yeah,
and that's going to be an announcement that triggers a bunch of other announcements.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to do on it. Like we want it to be extremely high. I mean, not that this isn't extremely high quality, but like Fridays when we do our live, we're just kind of
we're going to shift
talking.
to a 2-a-week show.
Yeah,
Fridays will be live, current events. We'll be hanging out. Andrew might get up and tinker with the equipment.
Yeah.
But on Mondays, it's going to be pre-produced with bells and whistles.
Yeah, and Wednesdays when we'll have our guests usually.
Oh, is that that's new?
I thought we did. Okay. No. Anyway, yes. But anyway,
many new content opportunities.
Yeah, we will. We have so much stuff coming, and we want the pre-produced stuff to be extremely well done. And yes, the suit is back. That's right. Thank you. CJ needs to get dressed up too. I mean, it's
not on Fridays.
Oh, it's casual Fridays for CJ. But this series, I'm extremely excited about because it is. I mean, this is some of the stuff too. Like after Trump does that executive order about ending affirmative action in the hiring practices of the federal government, you have lib people freaking out. You have lib people freaking out because they're repealing the 20th century. All the progress of the 20th century is going away. And I mean, you were homeschooled, but I went to public school. And what I was taught in school, and I went to public college too, And all of it is just this cavalcade of Whig theory of history, of how glorious it is, just progress after progress. Like everything is getting better. All these wonderful things that happened in the 20th century. And no one, I thought this even when I was a kid, but no one thought to consider, like, what if most or even all of those things were bad?
Yeah.
Right? What if they were actually bad?
Yeah.
And things are worse than they were before? Yeah. What if they happen to be bad?
What if it's not progress?
What if it's not progress? Right. And that's what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
So we hope that you have a wonderful Trump weekend, and that we keep on winning, and that on Monday, when we reconvene, there will be more white pills to dispense. Mm-hmm. Right. This is a no black pill zone. CJ's having a hard time right now.
Hey, come on. Yes,
all we do is win. We never stop. So it's too much winning. And so hopefully you don't overdose on winning over the weekend. But what's your favorite Zin flavor, CJ?
What? What is Zin?
You had one. Tell them about the time you had Zin one time.
Yeah, I popped in a 6 milligram.
Yeah, 6 milligrams Zin. That you
didn't work out so well.
Yeah, we were driving to the airport. We were driving to the airport.
I am a man of very few vices.
I know. You need to pick a few up. And we're driving to the airport. I got to tell everybody this. We're driving to the airport, and I put a Zin in. And CJ's like,
Gary, I need to get him back right this time.
Yeah. Let me try it. I'm like, dude, no, this is 6 milligram. It's not going to go well.
That's not what happened. You said try it.
No, I did not. I did not. I warned you. Do not take this. And you're like, I have cigars all the time. I'll be fine. Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
I wouldn't say that.
This is like
cigars all the time.
This is like arguing with my wife.
This is brutal.
I didn't say that. Yes, you did. Brutal. You totally.
This is like arguing with my wife.
Yeah. Dude, I have I'm not super thankful for getting tons of vaccines when I was a kid, but it allowed me to have this autistic perfect recall memory. You did say that. And so anyway, he pops in this Zin. We're driving down Interstate 40, and it's like a super busy freeway, by the way. And he's like white as a ghost after like 2 minutes. And he's like, you pull over. And I pull over onto the off the freeway, semis buzzing past us. And, CJ just ralphs all over the side of the ditch, and hops back in.
This is such an exaggeration.
Pops back in, and all better now. And so I think you had a citrus. That was the one you had. So that's true.
It didn't taste like citrus, man, coming out.
not the second time. My favorite. I mean, I go back and forth. I mean, I really like the unflavored ones. That's probably boring. It's like saying you like vanilla. It's your favorite ice cream, but smooth. I love and like I can't find them anywhere. I can't find smooths anywhere in America. And so I know there's had production problems and all that. So hopefully they come back. I mean, Trump needs to get on that and need an executive order. Actually he did sign, I think, or something like the FDA approved them like the day after he took office. And now it'll be easier to get Zins, hopefully. But smooth is good. I like citrus. I like in the mornings with my coffee, I really like cinnamon. So I mean, I'm a man of many Zins, but anyway, that's we're getting really silly now. But I know you got to get going, and so do I. But everyone, thank you for tuning in. We've had more fun than a human being should ever be allowed. We're just gonna steal all of Rush's lingo. Oh, you never listened to Rush, did you? Totally uncultured, rude.
Uncultured.
We need golden microphones like Rush Limbaugh. Write that down too. We need golden microphones. Firmly ensconced. We need cigars like Rush.
We do need like a decanter or something.
Yeah, we need lots of things. Anyway,
I need a poster.
Man, I'm talking like a schoolboy right now because I'm just so giddy. Right? I'm giddy. We're winning.
Yeah,
it's happening.
Lots of hype in the headlines, that's for sure.
It's happening, man. I just can't be any happier than I am right now.
That's good. We love it. Happy Andrew.
That's right. So have a wonderful weekend. Keep on winning. Stay peacefully dangerous. And we will see you all next time.